Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris, continuing Onko's. Well, we're in the Salvation one. We did the bad end, right? The Despair after story, we're in the Salvation after story. So, like, the route that we slogged through, we get the after story, which is, at least good, fluffy stuff. So, we're fine now. Unless they drag this on for like 82 hours. These usually don't take that long. So, we'll be another hour, a couple hours. This is fine. But, like, if we're here at part 85, I'm gonna cry. Like, we might be for the game itself. I don't know how long the little, like, interlude things take, but anyway. Oh, right. It's been a couple days since I played because it was the weekend, and I did not miss the white on white with the white in the background. I didn't miss the blatant white that's happening here. Too much white. Simmer it down. Jesus. I don't know why they didn't, like, put black text on the white background, or, like, I don't know who... I still question the sanity of whoever looked at this and went, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm assuming if you're looking at your Switch, it's probably fine. But when you were sitting trying to look, even though it's larger on a TV, it is just so motherfucking blinding, and it's not good. It's not good. Good Lord. We didn't have any other errands to run, and the children were being taken care of by another teacher today. So we made our way together to the Lycoris field we treasured. There, I once again offered a prayer at the grave of one of Onko's dear friends, the Drifter. The Drifter, Tamaki, I'm sure he's also glad that this country's curse has been broken. Yes, I'm sure. Onko took out of his pocket the tobacco pipe that he showed me before. And this, too, was something I received from him. At first, even I coughed every time I smoked, but I've become quite fond of it now. It's true, you've been smoking quite often when the children and I aren't around. I understand you're thinking of our well-being, but even if it's just once, I'd like to see what you look like when you use it. She's like, smoking is not sexy unless you had, like, one of those 1940s, like, you have one of those, like, cigarette stick. Why can't I just, like, the smoking sticks. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't have to touch the cigarette. It's at the end of a 2-foot-long stick. Then if you have one of those and you're dressed all, like, fucking retro, maybe. But it's more like you just light it, and then it's just the act of having the cigarette holder in your hand. You could literally just put a sparkler in that, and it'd be, like, fucking cool. You know what I mean? It's not the smoking that's cool, it's the cigarette holder. So, you know what I mean? Meh. Smoking is gross still, so. And, like, so holding you could just pretend to be and, well, this is all, like, herbs and shit, so he's technically vaping or whatever. Or smoking pot. Whatever. Okay, sure. Alright, sure, sweetie. Yeah, you're at tobacco. Air quotes around that. Sure it is. Oh, God. And do you really want to see that? I don't think there's anything particular to see, but... Onko unexpectedly looked at his pipe. Are we going to get a CG of that? Because that'd be fun. I do, because I think it really suits you. It's a very weird message to be putting in this game. Like, smoking can be kind of hot if your boyfriend's hot. Like, no, it's still not hot. Like, maybe don't. I mean, I guess I could see the pipe maybe suiting the vibe. It's kind of like you got a Sherlock Holmes vibe going on. You got to have a pipe. You know what I mean? You got to have like a smoker. You know what I mean? You can't have like a regular cigarette. So this kind of, maybe. Still don't, smoking's bad, kids. But, Very well. A full display would be out of the question. But if it's just for a moment, I will show you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. This has got to be so awkward. Could you imagine? Show me what you look like when you smoke your pipe. Just pretend to do it. Someone's staring at you. Like, I feel like smoking is something you just do. You're not thinking about like, oh, hey, I'm trying to make myself look sexy doing. I mean, if you do, then that's a problem, and you should get help. If you're smoking, just trying to look sexy. So like, could you just imagine someone be like, no, smoke for me. I want to watch you do it, and staring at you intently? How awkward that would be. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's like literally anything. You know, you're like, you just make a sandwich and someone's like, I want to stare intently while you make a sandwich. And you're like, this is very odd, you intently watching me do something mundane. You know? but apparently he's into it, so this is a scenario. As I smiled softly, happy at the peaceful exchange I had with Anko. Weird is what you mean. A gust of wind blew by, and with it, petals from the white Lycoris flowers flew toward the sea. It was a sight you could see at night. Its beauty reminded me of the starry sky. We were drawn in by the scene and walked down to the sea. This place seemed lonely at first glance. This is the spot where we met Spinel for the first time. Yes. At the same time, this was also the place where Anko mourned for her. Spinel CG flashback. Spinel meant a lot to me as well, and her death was a shock, not only for Anko, but for Adolphe as well, after he heard everything that happened. Well, yeah, especially because Anko was at least there, and then you had to go to Adolphe and be like, so, yes, Spinel died. He'd be like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, she seemed kind of cool. And you're like, yes, so also, she was our sister. Go fig, right? And then, like, could you imagine? Like, you know, like, that's gonna hit so much different than just, hey, someone we just met that you became friends with died while you weren't there. I mean, that's gonna happen in us fighting the freaky monster things in the sewers, right? Sure. Like, and then, like, she was just a person that you met and that you kind of became friends with. You'd be like, oh, that's sad. And, like, what, like, that's one thing. He'd be upset about it, like, but then you're like, oh, by the way, we found out and you never got to know, but she was your sister. Like, that's gonna be different, because he never got to know that. And at least Anko knew before she died. Granted, 2 minutes before she died, but, like, you know what I mean? Sad. But it ain't about Adolphe, even though Anko is Adolphe, so technically it's always been about Adolphe. Anko said that the time we spent with her was too short to call her by her original name. That was why he made a point to continue referring to her by name. That doesn't make any sense in this context. I mean, I get what you're trying to say, I guess. Her birth name, like, she came and she was using Spinel, but that's not, like, her name. Kind of like Anko is not his real name, it's Adolphe. But then again, Adolphe might not have been his real name either. Well, we never got that, though. Like, he was old enough to remember his parents being like, fuck you, and punting him onto a boat. Was he old enough to remember what his name was when he got here? Or did he even bother? Or did Salome give him a new name? But, like, what I guess they're trying to say with this is, like, it's like her, she's like, well, my name originally when I was born was Margaret, but I was just calling myself Spinel when I was here, just because I was hiding my identity. But, like, since we never got that conversation with her ever, that she had any other name, this is a very weird fucking point in the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we never really got to know her, so we shouldn't call her by name. So we just keep calling her by her name. Or it's a translation issue, but considering the fact that nobody here... Well, not nobody. Some people have last names. A lot of people don't. Do we have a last name? I don't think we do. I don't think Adolphe has a last name. I don't think Salome has a last name. I don't know if she wouldn't because she's a sister, so I don't know anything about nunneries or anything. Okay. Lucas does, and Eve kind of does. Onko doesn't, but, So, like... But, like, if Spinel had a last name and we were calling her by that, and we couldn't use her first name, because, like, in Japanese culture, you call people by their last names until you get really close, and then you call them first name. I get that could be it, but, like, it's not like they ever gave us a last name for this to make sense, even in a cultural reference like that. You know what I mean? So, like, too much time thinking about it. It doesn't matter. That was what the secret-keeping Spinel would have wanted. Unless Onko's like, oh, I remember my sister's name, but he acted like... He and Adolphe both acted like, yeah, I had a brother or sister or someone. I don't know. Someone gave me the stone, and now all of a sudden it's like... We're assuming it was supposed to be Spinel, but, like... So there's like... This is Swiss cheese, so... I don't know why we're trying to fill the holes here. The game didn't really want to fill those, but... It wanted us to replay the first game, like... And spend a lot of time on shit we didn't need, but then it leaves us with some Swiss cheese plot where you're like, it's like you had this stuff in there, but you took that out, but left shit that didn't matter. And you didn't QA it. I don't know. We stared at the distant sea that brought her and listened to the sounds of the waves. Good Lord. Shall we bring some drinks for next time? We can invite Adolphe, too. I rested my head on Onko's shoulder. And in response, he wrapped his arm around my shoulders. Then... he kissed my ear. This would have been a cute CG to have. It tickles. What's gotten into you all of a sudden? I don't know if these ones have CGs. I don't remember. What? You were looking a lot more sad than I was, so... I think she would be happier if you were smiling instead of looking so down, don't you think? You're right. I lowered my brows and stared at the sea as I moved closer to Onko. Thank you. You taught me so many things and helped me so many times. Now I'm living with Onko in this country blessed with beautiful Lycoris flowers and starry skies. Those painful memories, a dear person would never come back. She taught me that my normal life was just like the sea before my eyes. Even now, it was forever expanding. One of the places that had changed with the times was the orphanage where I once lived with Mother. Stemming from the fact that I took charge of another orphanage and had to move away, the others who went through those events had been coming by regularly to lend a hand. Of course, they also come to visit the children we cared for at our orphanage. Among those that visited, Adolphe came by especially often. I see. You went to the seaside where Spinel's resting. And she would be happy to know you two were leading a happy life together. I think so. Next time let's visit her together, Adolphe. I helped with the children's meal, and after making sure they ate everything, the family got together and we held a heartfelt dinner. Oh my! May I visit next time as well? I didn't even get the chance to thank her for taking care of you all, let alone properly meeting her. Thank her for Sister Salome. None of us are children anymore. I myself am over 500 years old. Now, the age gap here is, like, really wildly fucking inappropriate, but, like, whatever. See, that is, like, and even with Cyan, it's like, he's, like, 80. But they in, like, 23-year-old bodies. Well, I guess Onko was technically a 25-year-old body. Actually, Onko is really just looks 25 and is in a 500-year-old body, to be fair. Because Adolphe was actually aging. And then there was a point when he stopped, and so, you know, Onko really is actually just looks really good for 500, to be fair. So, at least Cyan was just putting his 80-year-old brain into hot bodies, is all I'm saying. This is problem age gap game, to be fair. Like, I mean, If you think about it, like, anybody who's well, okay, only with Cyan and Anko. Because, like, Adolphe's a few years older than us. Lucas is only a few, like, everybody else is, like, our age. Okay, only 2 of our love interests are problematic age gaps. And, like, Mathis is just, he's a homunculus, so he's not even a real boy, so, like, we can't really count him. And I don't know how old, I know how old he's supposed to be, but how old is his homunculus body, really? You know what I mean? Like, Cyan looks 23, but he's, like, 80 in there. Is Mathis really, like, 17, 18? Or is, like, has he only been, or has it been, like, 30 years that he's been this age? We don't know. I don't know. But, like, whatever. But he's not a real boy, so... Uncle, who was sitting next to me, seemed embarrassed to be treated as a child. Whether 100 or 1,000 years passed, you're all still my dear children, and technically, you went back in time and that's why you're older than Salome, but she's always going to be older than you. But it's a shame. You can't call me mother like you used to. Well, it isn't that I don't want to, but I can't shake the feeling that it's too late. It's difficult to distinguish who you were addressing when you speak to me or the brat. Cut it out, will ya? Stop calling me weird names already. Have you forgotten that I'm already 30? That's true, it's been 5 years and I just forgot to do age math, so yeah, but like, damn Adolphe, you didn't age in 5 years, you still look fine. Enjoy it while it lasts. It's a quick slope into, I woke up and I hurt because I woke up. Did you sleep wrong? No, I just slept. I went to bed and I woke up in pain. You used to be able to sleep on cement floors or like wrapped around weird objects and in all sorts of Gumby positions and be perfectly fine after 2 hours of sleep. And once you hit 30, it's like, I slept on my hip wrong and it's gonna hurt for like a month. You're gonna hobble down the stairs, bones creaking as you go. Oh, God. Oh, I'm so old. I'm obviously over 30. Clearly, like, I'm so fucking old. I feel like Cyan. I'm 80 inside of my body. Stop it, you two! I won't have any fighting at the dinner table! But it's true that Adolphe's grown up to be a great man. When do you think you can stop calling him a brat? Fine. I'll come up with a different name for him then. Whippersnapper would work. Because doesn't matter how old he gets, he's going to be a whippersnapper to you, because you old. We've already talked about how you can call me by my actual name. This wasn't an issue 5 years ago. My children are still lively as ever. Mother watched with a smile as the exchange had seemingly become friendly again. How have you been lately, Adolphe? Public order doesn't seem bad, but I heard the group demanding that revival of reliver technology is causing uproars everywhere. It's been fine. The uproars have been minor scuffles, with no one being injured. The former Royal Guard members who tried to cause a civil war are also scheduled to be detained soon. I see. That's good to hear. It wasn't going to be easy to do away with the technology that was extending everyone's lives. I mean, like, again, this very true. Like, you'd be like, no, I want the curse gone. Oh my God, I don't want to die at 23. I don't have the money to become a reliver. And then they're like, yay, no more relivers. We don't have to. Curse is gone. You can just get old and die naturally. And then you're like, yeah, wait a minute. Wait. Now I gotta get old? You know what I mean? Because, like, you spent your whole life saving up money to becoming a reliver, right? And then, just constantly afraid of the curse and like, oh my God, And then when they get rid of it, you're on one hand glad because you're like, well, thank frickin' God, I don't have to keep spending all that money to become a reliver. Sweet, saves me shit, right? Awesome. But then you're like, wait, now I gotta get old though. And then I'm gonna get old and die as opposed to just, especially if you've been a reliver for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there's some people who are like, you know what, actually, good. Because I feel like we said this already, but there's gotta come a point, even if you could, like, live forever, that you go, you know what? I'm bored with this. Can I just grow old now? I don't want to be alive forever. You know what I mean? Like, your little window of life is so tiny and short. But if it was, like, extended and you were like, I can be 500 years old, like, after a while, you're like, this has gotten old. Can I just grow old and die naturally now? Because, like, is boring now. There's only so much you can do before you're, like, bored of it. You know what I mean? And, like, you're just like, I've lived plenty long enough. But a lot of people probably weren't there yet. And also, you're accustomed to every 23 years, I pop myself into a new body, and now you're like, I can't do that anymore. And now this one, I got my knee hurts. What is this? What's the, do you hear this creaking noise that my knee is making? What is that? And they're like, yeah, it's part of getting old. You're like, no, I want a refund. The fuck is this shit? Again, we know what happens when we get old. We've been taught this our whole lives. And yet when it happens, you're like, no, I want a refund. I know people told me about this, but nobody told me it was like this. I mean, you said things were going to hurt, but I just thought you were joking. Or like, whatever, but things actually hurt. What the shit? Like, my back hurts right now just thinking about it. To be fair, my back hurts because I'm at period too. So, like, when I have cramps, it's like my whole lower body is on fire. So, like, right now my back is like, your uterus doesn't hurt, but I'll hurt for you. Thanks, back and kidneys. Oh, good Lord. But anyway, currently Adolphe was working for the police. As for the previous corps, it had been an independent organization composed of volunteers from Cohen. But now, in place of the Royal Guard, a new law enforcement system was modeled after those found in other countries. We kind of already know all this. They've already explained this. Well, in other parts. So, they worked to prevent crimes and carried the responsibility of arresting criminals when necessary. It was basically Adolphe's, wouldn't it? Wasn't it? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the Arpachel of today was enjoying its peace thanks to their efforts. Even if the monarchy was abolished, there are those that cling to its remains. That's true. At the mention of the monarchy, Mother made a slightly concerned face. Well, she's the only living queen, and she just pretending. Well, no. We must know who she is by now, because wasn't it in this? Well, it was in Anko's route somewhere. It might have been in the after story when we first finished the route, not in this part of the after story. You know what I mean? But where Adolphe was talking to Salome about Dahut, and you know what I mean, going to his grave. So, like, that to me sounds like he knows that Dahut was her son. You know what I mean? And maybe I just inferred that, but then we would have to know who she is, so. You okay, Mother? Uncle and I both understand you're completely different from those people. Okay, yeah, so there you go. I was like, I should just read the lines before I say shit. Because this happens all the time. Like, they're not explaining anything! And then they promptly explain it. Or, in this case, do we know that she was... Yes, we do. Yes, we do, right there. Indeed. You've been living at Sister Salome all these years, haven't you? And you have no relationship with the Revelpois family at all. Well, things were complicated with Dahut, but please don't act as if you're responsible for everything that happened. Thank you. I decided to live as Sister Salome, but it's painful I can no longer call myself his mother. But I have accepted that as the punishment imposed on me for my incompetence. I feel that. Mother smiled with a touch of relief in her expression. Just like she did literally nothing wrong. She was trying to do the right thing and people murdered her. That wasn't you being incompetent. It's your family being a bag of dicks. But I get that because when you do, like, I'm one of those people, like, will beat myself up and be like, I am the most worthless human to ever exist, and I should I'm just awful, I'm the worst. Because, like, you do one little thing wrong, and most people are like, oh, fuck, I'm disappointed in myself, but, like, shit happens, accidents happen, things, whatever, and I'm like, no, I'm just the worst. I'm awful and horrible. I just, you know? Like, so, I'm in that same boat over here. Somebody's like, my incompetence. No, sweetie, it's not, no. No, no, it wasn't you. No, you're fine. You're fine, girl. Don't be so hard on yourself. I need to tell myself that, but I don't listen to me. Christine Revelpois, the benevolent ruler who was mentioned in the records we found in the castle library. For such a person of nobility to be the mother who raised us all didn't feel real, but at the same time, I could easily believe that this wonderfully kind person was the former queen. Duh, Liam didn't know until the end that his mother had changed her appearance and was still among the living. Did that fact come as a relief to him? Or perhaps nobody ever told him, though he had no idea. In the original game, he found out, but in this one, he never found out. So this is really, again, like, the problem with replaying the whole first game and changing things and whatever and dragging it out was you spent a lot of time on shit we didn't know. And then you're doing stuff like this and this after story that are like plot holes, like talking about Spinell's real name and we can't call her by her name, so we've just been using her name. And it's like, the fuck does that mean? And then this, he didn't know until the very end that Salome was his mom. And it's like, no, he never found that out, though. That never happened. That literally never happened. She didn't know until after he was dead. So we didn't, you know what I mean? So, like, or if that's a part that they were like, yes, it was there, but then they cut it, it's like, but then you're not paying attention, so you're just leaving. You should have just made sure your shit fit together. Like, because, like, he never found it. It would have been nicer if he did and then hadn't died, but I mean, I feel like he kind of had to, the way they set it up, though, so. I mean, I guess we're just going to pretend that someone told him, but we didn't know either. And Cyan never had any. See, this is one of those. That's that plot hole, though, with Cyan going to talk to Salome, blah, 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 and never said anything like, oh, by the way, Dahut's your kid. Because he knew who they both were and didn't bother to tell her, and then nobody told Dahut, and apparently, yes, they did, but we didn't see that, and we're supposed to just pretend it happened. Okay, whatever. We returned to our place, and after putting the children to bed, by nearly destroying everything, Dahut reformed this country's ethics and values. Nadia's treatment also went well. Maybe things have gone in a way that would have pleased him. And to find out if that's true, we need to ask him in Hades ourselves. We sat in bed, talking as we usually did before going to sleep. And that's why, my princess, it's nothing for you to worry about. Still, the cruel mission he attempted to carry out should be history we never forget. You say that, but then people like to forget this shit, or just ignore it. And this country must never repeat the mistakes of the past. It's a little too close to home right now, thanks. Please, no game. You're right. I'm now an adult who needs to protect the children. To make sure they don't go down the wrong path, we need to make sure to teach them this country's history and way of life. Uncle kissed me on the cheek as if rewarding my renewed motivation. See, everybody like knows this. Like, pay attention to history. Don't forget it. Don't keep repeating the bullshit. And yet, what do we keep doing? Okay. Alright, let's all go cry now. I will also join you on that journey. It would serve to protect our normal life together as well. Thank you, Unko. To return the favor, I gave Unko a kiss this time. You're as cute as a kitten when you kiss me. Cute as a kitten when you kiss me. That's something you would say. We touched our faces together as we laughed like a perfectly matched couple. I mean, the man traveled through time and space for you, so I'm just saying. The next day... Spacey. While shopping at the marsh, I noticed two figures walking toward us. Hello, Mathis. Jean, are you two out shopping? Yes, I came to buy more writing paper, and Jean... I was ordered to buy a large amount of bread by Monsieur Brofils. A great deal of it, as you can see. Is he still just eating floor bread? Has no one taught this man how to make a sandwich? Somebody needs to invent a vending machine for this man. Like, seriously. Jean explained as he let out a sigh. He was indeed carrying a lot of things. Running errands for Cyan does seem like a tough job. And no, not really. You just get bread. Like, that's all you have to get him is bread. The man just lives on... He does realize that even though he can manage that in a liver body, that now in a normal human body, he needs more than just bread as fuel, right? You can't just eat carbs, Cyan. You need, like, other nutrients. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Think of how smart Cyan is and all he eats is bread. Could you imagine how exponentially more intelligent this man would be if he got the actual proper nutrition in his body? Doesn't he, like, supplement himself? Was he, like, hooking himself up to IVs and shit? Like, I wouldn't be surprised. He's like, no, I just eat bread, but, like, I just hook myself up, and it's like, whatever. I'm sure becoming a reliever did some shit, but, like, I'm just... Sweetie, you're gonna die just eating bread. Oh my god, he should literally just be toast for Halloween. I just need to now have a Halloween event for this game. I just need the characters, and I literally just need Cyan to just be in a toast costume. Because there's nothing else that's better for Cyan than just you can picture him right now and just a giant piece of bread. The little hole with his, you know what I mean? Like, you've seen the cat with the bread on its head, right? But this is just Cyan. His whole body is just covered by a giant piece of bread, and his head just poked out of the... You can picture this, right? You picture him dressed as toast, and you are like... And this is why we all... You know what? I don't blame you for loving bread, because I'd eat that too. But, anyway. The man's fucking ridiculous. I don't think I'll ever get over the floor toast. Jean, who was the culprit behind the missing prostitutes, and actually murdered them all. I don't know why the way that's phrased is just... Jean, that was behind all the missing prostitutes, murdered them all. Oh. When the truth came out, it wasn't wrong to expect him to be executed for his crimes. It was thanks to his position in the Claude family and his excellent translation skills that he managed to survive. This is just the game being like, we didn't want to kill him in, like, some translation skills there. Okay, sure. Okay. I don't think that would stop people. I heard that in exchange for being spared from execution, he was helping Cyan with his research and legislative duties. You know what? That's punishment enough, though, to be fair. Jean's probably like, I wish they had executed me. Listen, all you have to do is open the door, chuck the loaf of bread in, and you're good. But open the package and just chuck the bread in individually, so wherever Cyan is on the floor, scrambling around, he's always got toast he can pick up. Remember, he doesn't actually toast it, but it's floor toast because by the time he eats it, it's either crunchy because it's gone stale or it's picked up God knows what off the floor. So that's why it's floor toast. When I saw him the other day, he said he'd rather have been executed. Okay, that's exactly what I just fucking said. Okay. Oh, stop. I can't read now. I can't see. I'm beyond, but also my eyes are watering. I love science so much because having to work for him makes Jean wish he was dead instead. It's just so fucking funny. Oh my god. Oh. It seemed that outing Cyan was even tougher than it looked. I mean, the joy we got out of it is because we got to look at him. Of course, I had my reservations about him, but I didn't feel the need to avoid him. Mostly because Mathis wished to spend every day with him. He threw away the name Camille and lived as Jean the Butler. Cyan's also been helping a lot with my physical modifications, or rather, my treatment. I've been thinking of going to thank him. Would you like to come with me when I do, Spacey? Of course, because we have to see Cyan. We're going to see everybody at the end of this. Yeah, I'd like that. I'll ask Anko to join us, too. Oh, that reminds me. Has writing your novel been going well? Yes. In fact, just yesterday I finished writing a new short story. His eyes glowing with excitement, Mathis told us about his work as a novelist, which he did alongside working as a translator. The story is still a secret, but once it starts taking form, I'd be happy if you could read it, Spacey. Seeing how cheerfully Mathis was taking it, it was hard to believe he was once so shy. Oh, as to how excitedly he was talking. It was, okay, I can't read. It's the white on white text. Of course, I'm looking forward to it. The stories you compose, with endless possibilities, they've saved my heart and given me strength. They're really wonderful. Having told him my true feelings, Mathis's cheeks flushed red with embarrassment. Jesus, I can read. No, I can't. We know I can't. I was saved by the many people I met during the incidents that occurred 5 years ago. Not just my life, but my heart as well. That was why I planned on repaying their kindness in the many years to come. To atone for my sins, I'd face my everyday existence just like him. Hello, Spacey. I'm glad to see you're doing well today. Hello, Lucas. I came by again today to see how the children are doing. On the way back home from the marsh, I decided to stop by the hospital to see how the children were doing. Thank you for coming. The children always look forward to your visits. I'm happy to spend time with them, too. Did Nadia come with you today? As I asked, I recalled the face of the friend I saw a few days ago. No, unfortunately, she's spending time at the church today. I'm assuming they weren't ever going to show us Nadia because she's aged 5 years and they would have to have drawn a new sprite for her, and I'm sure they didn't, so. They're having their big monthly cleaning. She mentioned she would help. I wish I could have joined her, but I was asked to meet the former followers that have been hospitalized. I see. Nadia spends a lot of her time at the church. Perhaps praying for Dahat to rest in peace. Yes, I have mixed feelings toward him since he turned out to be the supporter. But I cannot deny Nadia's affection for her friend on that basis. Having said that, Lucas, who had surpassed the age of 23, gave me a gentle smile. That's true, he'd be like 27 now, right? Maybe 28. Was he, because he was 22 or 23. He was basically on death's door. The hospital that had served as the front for the Society of Exorcists was now being run by the government. Of course, the former doctors were replaced. Along with the experiments, the illegal underground facility was dismantled. In the end, the outstanding issues related to the society were resolved, or at least it seemed that way. Questionable. 5 years have passed, but we still don't know Capucine's whereabouts, do we? I was like, because when they show the underground, I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, like, Jean, okay, fine, we gave him a pass, but what the fuck happened to Capucine? We don't know. Are we going to have a little flash? He's going to be, I'm sorry. Do we have a moment where we'll have like a little Capucine aside where he's hiding in the cave? Did anybody check the cave? He knows where it is. And he's just going to be mourning fucking Spinel because he was like, God, she drove me crazy. But then she like kind of loved me. So like, maybe I miss her. I don't know. Like, are you going to humanize Capucine more? What are you thinking? Why would you do this? Like, oh, no. No is right. Don't humanize Capucine. Like, he's the perfect villain. We hate him. He's so easy to hate. He's so punchable. Don't, like, make us feel bad for him. Like, we might actually be, like, not completely a psychopath underneath. What? He has like, 2% human in him? What? Don't confuse me like that. Upon hearing the fake minister's name, Lucas's expression clouded. It was natural that he still felt anger and resentment toward Capucine for taking his sister hostage and injecting him with drugs. I mean, there's that too. We were really more like, I really want to kill Capucine because what he did to Nadia, but also everything he did to Lucas was kind of fucked up, so there's that too. Lucas didn't make excuses for his sins either, acknowledging he had also acted on his own biases. I heard he disappeared the moment Unco and the others stormed the underground passage. That man, there's a possibility he fled alone for fear of his life, but that is something God only knows. I agree. Even now, it seemed that the police regularly conducted searches for him, but again, did anybody check the cave? For some reason, I had the feeling he'd never be found. After reading 2 picture books to the children at the hospital, I walked back to the orphanage. I stayed a little longer than expected. I need to hurry back to prepare dinner. I was like, we're out alone at night, and I don't trust this game, so it's like Capucine's gonna jump out of the bushes. When I arrived at the orphanage, no, nothing happened. Ow, that hurts! I heard the cries of a young boy. I quickly dropped my things and ran toward the source of the voice. And not to worry, it may be bleeding now, but with proper care it will heal in no time. There I found Unco soothing the crying child who was sitting on the floor. It's like, ow, that hurt. I'm like, the kid probably hurt his elbow or the kids are fighting or something. She drops her shit like someone's beating them or drugging them or like dragging them out of the house and like, it's just a kid got hurt. Like, Gabe, you were trying to make me panic, but I ain't falling for that. If it was one of our boyfriends, I'd be like, no, what's going on? It's a fucking weird, it's a kid. Who cares? No, but I mean, like, I'm expecting nothing bad to happen in the Salvation After story stuff. You know what I mean? Nothing bad happens in these, so. What happened, you two? The drama music is a little over the top. I rushed over to them and looked the boy in the eyes. I fell down when we were playing tag and hurt my knee. His clothes are covering the injury, but it seems he scraped his knee rather badly. Oh, my. Seeing how much the boy was crying meant it must be quite the scrape. I love the music. It's like, "Dunno!" It's a scraped knee. It happens. Jesus, game. I'll bring over water and some ointment. Moving his pant leg might hurt. Do you think you can cut the fabric around his knee? Unco nodded. Oh, but these pants, you made them for me and they're my favorite. Don't worry, I'll patch them up so you can wear them again after, okay? Give me a quick moment. I'll be back. You're like, and then your pants will have a really cool patch on the knee, so they'll be even more amazing. They won't just be normal pants, they'll be cool pants. And then some other little kid, I want cool. Fuck you, Milo, you don't get cool pants. No, Milo grew up and stopped being a douche. We know that. After drawing clean water and retrieving the first aid kit, I returned. Uncle very carefully cut the portion of the fabric that covered the boy's knee with his trusted dagger. It's a shame we don't have scissors. I looked over the injury and gently cleared away the blood with some water. Now we'll treat it so it can heal properly. Or quickly. I'll have to apply some ointment on it, which may sting a tiny bit. Do you think you can hang in there? Yeah. How brave. I don't know why I could not read the word brave. I'll make you your favorite meal for dinner tonight. After patting the boy on the head, I quickly began treating the injury. Lastly, after wrapping the bandage carefully so as not to catch it on his clothes. There we are, all done. You managed not to cry at all. You've grown to be so strong. The boy wiped his tears and jumped up to his feet on his own. Let's go get you changed now. My dear princess, could I ask you to put away my dagger in the room? Of course. After watching Anko take the boy to change, I returned the medicine to the box and put the bloody towels in a bag to be washed. Lastly, I collected the dagger Anko had left behind. Come to think of it, Anko's dagger is something the past me gave to Adolphe, right? I caught a glimpse of it 5 years ago, but I hadn't taken a closer look. For that reason, I was somewhat curious about it. Upon further inspection, a weird feeling came over me. I drew the blade. It's got the chip in it. From the shape and angle of the blade to the area where it was chipped, it was identical to the one I gave him. But something feels off. Yeah, it's been through time. Oh, the pattern was different. It was slightly different compared to the one I gave Adolphe. It's a different timeline, too. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, the one she gave Anko when he was Adolphe, he went back in time, blah, blah, blah. And then, because we only lived 18 years at that point, and then he went back in time and changed it, we lived 23 or so. The dagger that we gave Adolphe is different than the dagger we gave Adolphe, basically. Because that's two different timelines, even though they kind of played out the same. They're still different. Why? Same but different. Just like Anko and Adolphe are the same person, but different. There wasn't a chance I was misremembering. When I was little, I looked for something that suited him, and after days of stressful searching, this dagger was what I ended up finding. That means my heart made a strange sound at the ominous feeling inside me. I don't understand why they're making it so dramatic. For 5 years, I'd had this vague feeling, but I never expected it would be confirmed like this. I knew it. The first Spacey Anko lost, and you're different people. Might be two different people who only resembled each other. I mean, it was still you, just like Anko was still Adolphe, but there's differences because it's a different timeline. Just like, you know what I mean? It's just a different version of you. Because it'd be like, okay, think of any decision you ever made in your life. There could be an alternate timeline out there where you made that other choice. And every single choice, like, you know what I mean? Maybe we can all just accept that kind of easily, and it's not like, for her, like, oh my God, the one he lost and me were different people. Oh my God, you loved someone else, not me. It was still you, dumbass. It was a different version of you. But, like, maybe we can easily accept that it's like, you're the same but different. Because we play Atome games, and, like, look at every version, every choice you make is a different ending most of the time. Well, not every choice, but you know what I mean? Like, all the different branching paths and all the possibilities, and you play all the endings, so you're like, and that's a finite amount of choices. In reality, there'd be an infinite amount of yous out there. Well, that's horrifying. 5 days had passed since the discovery that left me feeling so conflicted. I feel like, I mean, I get it. They're just trying to kind of like add something to it, but I feel like this was unnecessary. Good morning, Spacey. Today's your day off, right? Why don't we visit the Lycoris fields together? Or, I mean, I guess it's so that we can have a touching, beautiful, romantic moment. We could have had that without weird forced drama, but... I instantly averted my eyes from Anko as he invited me on a date. I'm sorry, but I have plans to meet some people today. Oh, is that so? It seems I was too slow in asking. Don't mind me. Please enjoy yourself. Okay, thank you, Anko. Even though I was feeling guilty, considering he had invited me out, I quickly got ready and after talking to the teacher in charge today, left for the town. I'd promised to visit Eve's handyman business, Karoon. The owner, Eve, and his business partner, Hugo. Business partner? Is that what we're still calling it? It's been 5 years. Progress a little. It's his boyfriend. Welcomed me cheerfully when I arrived from my visit in the morning. Well, okay, they're partners, but you know, business partners. Yeah, and they're roommates. As for why I had visited these two today, Because we have to see what everybody is up to since the route ended? That's why. There's really no other reason. I'm not complaining about this. I'm just saying.
So you're asking what we think of the versions of us in the past that Uncle interacted with it?
Well, that's a pretty tough question. I haven't exactly experienced time-leaping technology myself. I'm sorry for asking such a ridiculous question, but I'd like to hear what you two think. From hearing all of Unco's stories, did you ever feel that the version of you he spoke of was a different person? In response to my question, instead of saying they didn't know, they reflected on the idea very seriously. As the mystery fish behind Eve began to puff up, oh, that's true, Puffy's back there.
I consider the past me he talked about to still be me.
Strange to say, but I feel the same way. If it was a me that wasn't friends with Adolphe or Eve, I'd say that would definitely be a different person, but in the end, I can't make out any differences between us. I see. It was silly of me to ask such a strange question. Also, you have to think, like, she's getting this way because see, the dagger I gave Adolphe and the dagger past me gave to past Adolphe, who is now Anko, are different. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you are not the same person. That means the person who created the dagger did something different on the day they created the dagger. You know what I mean? That was their split choice going, do I do pattern A or pattern B for this one? What do I feel like do? You know what? I'm going to go with pattern A. And then that was the original timeline. And then when Anko left back in time, did some shit, they were sitting there going, do I do pattern A or pattern B? And they're, I feel like pattern B. A feels like familiar somehow, but so I think I'm going to go with B. It feels different. It feels fresher. And then they made Dagger B, and that's the one you found and gave to current version of Adolphe. So it's not you. So, hello. There you go. Just because the dagger looks different doesn't mean you're different. It just means the dagger's different. Right? Come on. Anyway. Perhaps noticing the complicated emotions in my expression.
Did something happen?
The person Anko thought of as a hero asked me kindly. Actually, I suddenly started to worry that if the Spacey that Anko lost in the past was completely different from the present me, it would cause him a lot of grief, and he wouldn't have fallen in love with you if you were totally different. Don't get me wrong, he would have tried to save you and whatever because, can't get rid of that girl, but eventually he would have been like, you're not the same woman I fell in love with, though. He's not stupid, And especially after 5 years. Just saying. Hugo responded understandingly. Oh, that was more like sorry. Yeah, I see why you'd be worried. If he learned that you were different people who only resembled each other, that wouldn't help you or him out at all. Eve seemed to agree.
I think there's no mistaking you're the Spacey he searched for. And even if you weren't, he said he's in love with you the way you are now. But? I think it's irresponsible of us, who know nothing about these things, to give you an answer based on our own feelings. So, don't you think it'd be better to ask a specialist for their opinion?
A specialist? Is there anyone who can be considered a specialist in something like time travel? Eve smiled at him as if knowing the answer. Yeah, Anko.
I got just the specialist.
Let's go. Why are we going back? We're going to see Cyan? Is that how we get to see Cyan? Oh god, I can't wait for this. I cannot wait to see our fucking floor toast eating goblin.
What about the person who created Reliver technology? A godly act similar to time traveling.
I looked out the window toward the place where the previous me reached a stalemate with our nemesis.
So you came all the way here for that? Do you think I have time to spare for this?
Yes, because Jean throws bread in here for you, so you don't even have to get it yourself. He also takes it out of the package, so you don't... I'm assuming they don't have, packaged bread, but he slices it for you, so you don't even have to slice the damn bread. I don't think Cyan would care. He just grabbed the loaf and just gnaw right at it. Just sighing in a fucking corner. Just like gnawing on bread because he's starving. You could just... This is why I love him, because you could just imagine him being like a little floor troll eating his floor toast. And it's just... You know, it's just ridiculous.
To some degree, all this started because of you, Cyan. Could you share your expert opinion as a way to settle your debt for attracting us 5 years ago?
For attacking us 5 years ago, not attracting us. That was me just reading into shit. He's been attracting me since the second he showed up in my life. Cyan looked at Eve with amazement at his nerve in saying that. Now that the country's curse had been lifted, Cyan was working on research centered around genetic disorders. He was working toward eventually eradicating every known illness. I bet he'd be able to, again, maybe if you ate some vegetables, some protein, something other than bread. This included Nadia's illness, which he cured using the treatment plan Da had left behind. But asking for your perspective is honestly the best course of action. Past you and present you were the most different. There's a huge gap between them.
Even with my experiments on the second drifter, I couldn't break the curse without the help from others. I can't accept another version of me was foolish enough to accomplish nothing.
In other words, the previous you was a different person then? He then confirmed without any hesitation that that was what he thought on the matter. That means the possibility I'm a different person from the me in the past. That means the possibility I'm a different person from the me in the past, yeah.
But in your case, young maiden, it's different.
Huh? As he saw right through my confusion, he flatly denied my thoughts.
It'll come down to the individual to determine whether or not you're different. After all, long ago, those who lived here had a lifespan of only 18 years. It's now natural for those over the age of 18 to become relivers, so their mental ages wouldn't match their previous selves.
Cyan explained that would be the biggest difference between someone from then and someone from now.
Oh, that's right. The Cyan from long ago stopped growing at age 18.
I can't really make sense of it all, but if that's the case, then that settles everything, doesn't it? In both the past and the present, the Spacey that was alive during all the incidents was 18. Right.
Well, even those under 18 might be different due to their environments.
Huh? Cyan just really likes fucking with people.
Please, Cyan, stop going back and forth with this information
already. You're the one that decided to bring us here, dumbass.
And don't be so upset. You're the ones who interrupted my nap. Ultimately, I can't determine how identical humans are until they're quantified by reliver technology. Interpret my words however you like.
Okay, thank you for your time, Cyan. Alright, we're a little under time, but I'm going to stop because the bird's getting feisty and bitey. Yes, you are. I know, and I'm starving to death. I'm so fucking hungry. So, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more. Whoops.